Hey, Adi. Indeed, you're first. Even if you're not. So, quick recap. Last week I built the transactions page here, which kind of looks like this, mostly. This here is just a simple background image as a placeholder. But tonight we're going to build that in HTML, CSS, so that we can also place some links on it and also let it build up step by step. So let's open that one here. Let's take a look. Yes, exactly. Good. Also, I think I did something in the meantime. Oh yeah, I made 2 new animations. So last time I showed on stream how this animation got built in Cinema 4D, and I also wanted to have one of these ecosystem animations. That's also the one that's in the start and ending screen on Twitch. Here is not part of the logo in there. So I'll quickly show you that. I mean, it's basically the same logic, just with some additional logos on there. Here. So let's go there. Starts with the Gnosis chain, then honey swap, then cow swap, then optimism. It's circled in no particular order, so it's just the most important symbols of the most important protocols, platforms, or others that the fraction token depends on. So we have Gnosis chain, then honey swap, then cow swap, then optimism, superfluid, the Minerva wallet, Arbitrum, sushi swap, Lefi, Polygon, quick swap, sushi swap, Lefi, Polygon, quick swap, the Lab 10 collective, the Binance Smart Chain, Pancake swap, Connext, Avalanche, CoinGecko, Seliki, Celo, Symmetric, Ethereum, Uniswap, OpenSea, Snapshot, and then back to Gnosis chain so it can run in a nice loop. And after rendering all of that, it looks like this. Oh, no, that's the white one. Where is it? Oh, okay, hold on a second. That's the fast one. That's the one. So that's basically how it looks like. And that can run in an infinite loop over and over and over again. And I can use that then later on for other things. So as you can see now, it goes back to normal. There's also a faster version. And I also made one that's double the speed of that, and that actually looks kind of nice because if you only have a 60 hertz screen, and since the logos get smaller, they sort of get this scattered kind of style. It looks really nice, but I'm not sure if I can actually use that in the future because you never know which refresh rate one has to get there. Yes, and I open up here the wrong one because that's a white only version. That's what I'm using for the Animatrix background for the for my notebook, but I'm gonna show that the next time, I think, because there's still some minor issues there. What's racist? What's racist? Oh, you mean because it's the white one? Yeah, but you could also argue, since the majority of the animation is actually black, that it sort of shows how black and white can work together to make something beautiful, wouldn't it? I mean, there's always a way to yeah, there he laughs. All right, good. Yeah, I just wanted to show that, but of course I prefer the color version, the more inclusive, the more diverse one. Absolutely. All right, so that's the latest status of the important transactions section in here. We already finished basically the start area, also the distribution across the networks, then the options how to get the token, either buy it or use the faucet, and then we're going to build the relevant transactions in here. The shoutout area is basically done. The styling for the NFTs is also basically done, although the NFTs themselves will get some overhaul. Probably they're getting reminted. Yeah, so I can adjust, so I have a more freedom there. Then we have the roadmap in here, which is also very straightforward, and the DAO section. The text here still needs to get adapted, and also since there turned out a few issues, these informations here are back to hard coded. So once the layout and everything is fine, I'm gonna get into more of this backend stuff, how to retrieve the total amount of holders, the active streams and everything. So right now the only thing that's actually getting grabbed from an API is the current price. Everything else is just a hard-coded array, PHP array, and later on I'm gonna flip that so that the array isn't hard-coded anymore but gets created by something that's stored up front to have the actual values there. Right, so I already started last time here making some minor adjustments so that it doesn't look, because I think that's good for a placeholder, but it doesn't look that good, I would say. Did I just flip over to ending? Yikes. For how long? Was it just a few seconds, or was I talking on the ending screen for 5 minutes now? Oh, okay, good. Then it was just flipping over. No, good. Okay, so the idea here is to adjust these a little bit more. Right now they're just placeholders to the biggest extent here. And now we are going to figure out the best, let's close this one here too. Now we have to figure out the best way to actually build that HTML, because I don't want to adjust all these elements here so that these look like this here, when it's so much easier to just adjust the CSS code and then apply it to all of them. Also, these icons here, like the arrows or that one here, it's just a placeholder. That gets also there will be different icons then in there later on, and maybe even I'll animate them, because the whale here, that's sort of it invites actually to have the what's flosse in English, the fin, no, Yeah, that way back pedal thing here, to have that sort of wobble a little bit and also have the drops on top spread around here a little bit. Also the honey swap here, it makes a lot of sense to have the wings here flapping. Fin! Yeah. I thought that it's the fin, but then I thought fin is just the one on top. The tail fin. Yeah, and the one on the side. Are that side fins? Is it? Yeah, not sure. But also fin. Okay. Right. Yes. So that's one thing that will happen then at some point. Also, previously I wanted to have the separation between each element to have more. Yeah, but I just watched Nemo in German, so I never watched it in English. I only never, not so sure. And there it's the Flosse. Okay. Is there a Finding Nemo version in Dutch also? Yeah, but you basically also live under the sea, right? So that's okay. Get a message there. Let's check that out. Yeah. Snorks? What's that? The snorks like with glass and the chimney? Doing snorkeling? Oh, okay. Can't recall. I mean, I do watch Hanna-Barbera animated television series when I was a kid, but not snorks. In German they call these Schnorchels. Oh, that's sweet. Interesting. Okay. Good. So now we have to figure something out because yeah, but isn't basically most of them in Dutch have the English version also movie titles and stuff like that? Isn't that all in the original one? Yeah, makes sense. Okay, so let's figure that out. How we're going to do that? I would say it would make most sense to have one container that's a circular box, and depending on, and each one of these has, we're gonna build a wrapper around it and place in that wrapper one element that's always squared that holds the symbol, and that's also the trigger when you hover it, that we can control all the other stuff. And then depending on the class or the ID, there's another div container in there, and depending on the parent class, that one gets placed to the left or to the right, and that holds this this connecting line. The reason I have to do this is because if I would make one container, and that's usually how you would do it, you make a div container that's this. Oh my God, you're probably not gonna see anything I'm gonna do here. So just a quick explanation into HTML here. Let's make that red. So basically, normally you would create a container that size and then place in that another container that's this size and have this element here just the background of that bigger container. That's how you usually would do it. But as you can see here, that container now would overlap this one here. So either we stack them in the perfect way so that the next one, like, so that this container here is just basically that size, but lays on in front of this one here. I mean, I guess that would work too in this case. Let me think real quick, because I can do that and then maybe later on also have, if I want to make it vertically for mobile, then I'll just change the padding of this one here to the top side. Guess that would actually also work. Yeah, I mean, come on, let's. I mean, why not? Let's give that a try. Although, if I make it an extra box out there, I can always say, I mean, it's going to get built manually by hand anyways, so it doesn't really matter that much. Okay, then let's start with oops. What's new with you, Adi? Is there anything fancy to report? much, I think. Okay. When I found the squirrel with a gun game, I instantly thought about that's something that a hero needs to play when he's coming back to streaming, because that sort of screamed like it's going to be something for a hero to play. That's I think let's make that a little bit bigger so people can actually read what I'm typing here. Oh, jeez. It looks so small on this OBS window, and when I start looking at the screen, I feel like grandpa is programming now. I'll just leave this one in here, so I still have the old graphic, this placeholder graphic on the website, so I have something to align. Good old Aeon? What does Aeon has to do with that? Who's that Aeon and how do you kill him? Yeah, I really need to get my some new controllers, because the stick drift is it's close to unplayable now. I played with Enrico yesterday, 2 days ago, for like 2 hours, and it gets so frustrating because I can move to the right very fast. The system, it's good enough to play only, but as soon as I start streaming, everything goes sideways. So not sure how that, so it should be fine to just play a little bit, but until I have also the stick drift, it's just frustrating to play, because I can walk to the left, straight to the left normally, but when I want to move to the right, then this 60% stick drift sort of push against it, so you move very fast to the left and then super slow to the left, and that's not what I'm used to, and also I got killed like 15 times because of that. Certainly not because my aim is super shit, but that's another story. And yeah, I mean, Enrico, he has the same issue, and he's now playing just with the touchpad, and that's a clever idea. Yeah, and since I have now the index anyways, I could play like that. Yeah. Okay. So, another question, just to check back with you, because you're a mathematic genius, so I've been told. Because last time I made sure this one here, it's 100 by 100 pixels, width and height, and to make sure that that's common knowledge. That's common knowledge. Everyone knows that. I mean, Uncle Jeff wouldn't have hired you if you wouldn't be good in math, right? So I wanted to make sure that one here is the area is 50% of this one here. That's 12.5. So each one of these actually have the correct size of the chunk that gets moved around here. And I did some calculations there, but it's been so long till I had to calculate stuff like that. I wasn't really sure. So when I get to calculating that sizes, maybe I need you to double check that. Or what if I just use the scale function? Huh. That's because what I did, for example, to get that size, because that's 12.5% of the original one, I calculate that. The area of the first one, it's 100 by 100 pixels, so the area is 50 squared multiplied by pi, because if it's 100 by 100, then the radius would be 50, right? So it's 50 squared times pi, and that would be 7,854 basically. And then divide that by 100 to have 1% of it, then multiply it by 12.5 to get the 12.5%, and that's now the area of the smaller one. And then I'll divide that by pi, which is that, and then I take the square root of that. Oops, and then it would be 17 point what? I just clicked one time too many on the square root of that. So it's 17.7. And now if let's see if I calculate that correctly. Why is it 50? Are you fucking kidding me? Oh, no, 12.5, that's 25. So I had there, the square root of that is 17.7, and that times 2. So I get what the width and the height of the container should be. Times 2, and we're 35. And if I check that back, then that container here should have 35 pixels. Is that correct? Or did I miss something along the way? I'm really not sure. It looks kind of correct. But now I'm thinking maybe I should simply use the scale function there. Okay, but to get the area of a circle, it's the radius squared multiplied by pi, right? Okay. So I have now 2. Yeah, great. Phew. Lucky me. So I would have now 2 ways. Either I do the calculation for all of them the same way I just did now, and then have this one here and that one is 12.5%. I'll give that. Or, and that's the interesting thing now, let's take this for now. one here. Okay, and that's also a border radius, border. Let's make there a red border. And now I can say that the whale account here, let's try to make an explanation here. Let's say that's with 100 pixels and the height also 100 pixels. Take the background is red for now, or blue. And just for testing now. And we have the border radius 100%, so it's a circle. So we have this one here, or you know what, let's make that 300 pixels so it's more obvious. And we do the same with honey swap for now. Make that green. So what I could do now is either I'll calculate for each element different height and width manually and just type exactly that in there. Or another thing would be to do calculations in CSS, which should be doable because you can do some calculations there, like calc and then minus 100 pics, for example. But I'm not sure if we can do complex things like taking the square root. I don't think that's actually possible to make that smaller. Or I'm gonna leave it that way. Heyo, viewer number 2. If you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the chat. I'm happy to explain anything and she's gone. Or she. Okay. The other thing is, because let's say that's the whale account with, that's 1, and I want to have that one here 12.5%, I might be able to just simply use the transform scale function and give that 0.25 in there. Well, that's way too small, isn't it? Am I missing something? Because if scale is 1, it should be the same size, right? And if we go half the size, then it actually just scales down the width and the height. So that one here is, let's move that here. Let's also make this one here bigger so everyone can watch what I'm doing. Yeah. So setting the scale to 50% actually makes the area more than 1/2. So times 12.5. Then we have the area, then we need to divide that by 6, and then we need to get the square root of it. Can I do square roots? Apparently I'm not the only one who has, ooh, okay, oh, that's just it. Let's see, what does that do? Oh, okay, so it's just placing the square root in there. It takes the number. Okay, did also the lights go out? Are you getting swatted? Okay, apparently, yeah, we can do that with JavaScript and stuff like that. Yeah, but yeah, of course. That's that's actually the long-term version there to actually do the width and heights, put them in CSS. I was thinking if I can calculate all of that in CSS alone, so I can actually scale it to some degree. But what I can do is having the width and the height as inline CSS and calculate everything in PHP. That's also possible too. I mean, since it just, but the main idea to not have them pre-calculated in there is because if the CSS file calculates the exact values all the time, then I can scale down everything for the responsive styles then later on, so I don't have to recalculate them again, all of them for let's say for the phone, where I'm not using 100% of the thing. And because right now I would have to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So basically 20 calculations, because these here are all the same ones anyway, so I won't have to do that. So that's why I'm thinking about if I can actually find a way to have them dynamically calculate depending on the outer CSS container. So just say, oh, the first one container is 300 pixels wide, and then the rest of them gets calculated. But I'm just not sure if I can actually do that, because I can't take the square root from the via CSS, and I also can having them as inline CSS, because you can use, for example, in the HTML element you can use style and there a height with blah blah and the width, and just have that in there and let that dynamically get placed in there. But I think maybe the only way is really to have all of them pre-calculated and then just enter them in there. Because I mean, they don't have to be exact to the 18th decimal point. It should be fine, I guess. All right, so let's take this one here and let's give the first one the whale 200 pixels for now. It's kind of nice size there. Seventh? Oh yeah, the 7th decimal point. Yeah, it's the funny part about the 18th decimal point is because the fraction token itself has 18 decimal points, so you can stream or split it up to the 18th decimal point. Oops, where is it? So as you can see here, it has 18 decimal points, and almost no wallet can actually display that. But the interesting thing is that you can also set up streams that only stream to the 18th decimal point. So if you open up if you use the faucet to get the fraction, then the stream opens up and counts one of the 18th decimal point, 1 per second. And I recently thought about how to utilize that in some way, and in one of the next streams I'll set up a Unix timestamp contract where I'll start a stream of 0.00001 fractions per second to that contract, and that contract only allows receiving fraction from one address, and that one address opens up then this 0.001 stream per second, and then I send to that contract also the current Unix timestamp up here. So the stream goes in there, and then this contract always shows the current Unix timestamp. So that's one way to utilize the 18th decimal point on from the token there. But for CSS it certainly doesn't make any sense, because I think even the first decimal point doesn't really make a bunch of sense, because you're using pixel values most of the time. I mean, it does make sense for percentages. So if you have like 3 columns and you want to have them separately, so you use 33.33333 and then but even there, after the fourth decimal point, it doesn't matter anymore. Okay, so let's get back there. We now think we can start with the whale account. So it's the whale, then we give that the ID, and that's the T001. That's the first. It's important transaction number 1. Then it's marked as the whale account because the whale holds that. Then we need to give it the info that it's on the Gnosis chain. And what else do we need? We give that the amount 1, so I know that amount, there's a lot of missing 100. Okay, then we say that's the honey swap thingy. It's also on Gnosis chain. That's 50%. Number 2 in there. And then we have there the expansion and the other honey swap. That's 12.5. Okay. That's interesting. Let's start with that. So I mean, I could later on grab the size of the container in there and or give all the containers the same size, then take a look at the classes, catch that one number and use that number to calculate everything in JavaScript, and then inject the height and width into the DOM again. But then it would be a little bit more dynamic, but I'm not sure if that fucks up everything else then there. So we have the whale, we have the honey swap, we have the expansion there, and we need then there another whale. 25, 2, 3. Okay. So let's start with the whale. If let's see if that one is then the border color. Let's get that. That's the border color. Then we have the polygon. I'm not too sure if the border will actually work there. For these small elements. But let's see that next time. So for polygon, we're gonna need these ones here. Then we have some hello, new viewer. Launch chain. Okay. This one here. What's up with you? Are you on standby? Because you said you can't play in the scrim. Okay, yeah, get it. So let's have that here. So what do they all have in common? They all need to be display block. They all have a border radius of 100% to make it a circle. And that's basically it. I would say then there's the whale that then we say the background size is 100% auto, background repeat, there's no repeat, background position is center, and then the whale, background image whale. Background, and later on we are going to need, what do we need? Yeah, that we need for the honey swap, then we need the treasury, then we need the expansion, then we need expansion, then we have here treasury, then we need some metrics, symmetric, then we need quick swap, that's the same, that's the same, that's the same, that's the same. Then we need sushi swap, pancake swap, and sentinel. I think those are the icons we're going to need. It's not that much actually. Okay. So just to prepare that. Okay. Here. And then we open. I can't. I mean, I already used the whale icon somewhere, but I'm gonna make new ones with IT whale because these ones will get animated then later on, so that whenever I use the other I use the other symbol, they can stay normal and not animated at all. So let's grab this one here right away. You know what? That's gonna be tricky. Do I want to have that? Huh. Okay. If that container here is actually really then white later on, is that then should I actually use that then? Maybe it's better to screw that. Screw for now and give that the old, put the old logo in there. See how that looks. I think that's even better, right? Hello, new viewer. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the section. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. Because right now we already built the start area and also the area how the token distributed across the chains, the new ones. I mean, any questions? Yeah, whatever you have. I mean, it doesn't really have to relate to the project, of course. We already built the panel how to buy the token and also how to get it for free if you want to use the faucet, the streaming faucet, because it utilizes the superfluid protocol where you can stream the token. And the last section that's still to build is the relevant transaction by the project, so you can see what the project owner did there, how it's split up, where the liquidity lays from the project itself, and how it's split it up over time from the project side. Then the other sections, they're all already done. So the shoutout area, also the NFT area, the roadmap, and the DAO sections. So that's basically done here. That's the last big section of the home area that's still to do. I drew last time this graphic here, and today we are going to try to build that in HTML, because then I can build that timeline also step by step when you scroll to it, and also provide then more information when you hover this area to basically show when the liquidity get provided, how much got put into the pool, how much got added with the fraction token into that pool, also linking to the transaction proof on the block explorers, so you can see what actually happened there, and also proof that the liquidity token hasn't been moved at any time. Yeah, so, but probably the hover things we're going to do next time. Right now we just see if we can build that part here, and then also maybe even animate them, but I think tonight we are just going to build the first few sections, also the lines, and then I think once that's in place, the rest is very straightforward, because it always just repeats itself. Okay, so Adi, what would you say? What do you like more? That point here? Hey, Peter. Hi. Nice that you tune in. Peter is one of my fellow Minerva wallet. Yeah, he's really the one and only. He's one of my team members at the Minerva wallet. One of the he programs the fancy stuff, and I'll make sure that it looks fancy. So there's some synergy going on. And Peter, Adi, he's one of my team members in the Pavlov team. So, pew pew, exactly. He's one of the fellow Catastrophe members. Okay, so right now that's the transaction timeline, and I'm not sure if I should start with the token itself and then just say that it mints. It's technically not that correct, because the token actually split it up here the first time. So not sure if that one here is correct. It's actually correct, because that's the only time where the token was actually one solid entity, and then it split it up. So but let's just give ourselves a where is it? There it is. Place that one in here, and then let's save the okay. Let's upload that one here. So now I think everything it should still be empty, because none of these have any none of those have any width or height yet. But we can now start doing that. And Peter, we just talked recently about, do you know, is there any way to take the square root via CSS calculations? Do you know? Any way? Why don't I see any border here yet? Oops. That's more like it. Okay. To 1. Okay. So, and I think we now need some inner stuff here. And I could just make that black. And say that's 100. I think that should subtract it, right? No. That's it. Padding. Okay, and if we use the whale, if the whale is now black 2, yeah, because the background is that. So I would see background color. Not sure. I think there's a CSS element where I can colorize elements in there. I'm not sure. biggest issue what I'm having here is that this would look so much better. Doesn't look very good. And as soon as I make it white, then it looks super dirty and you can't. So let's still have to leave that completely white on there. And let's see, we want to I mean, that's actually just the only one. Because I think at this point here, everything gets so small that I need to use the backgrounds so you can actually see anything there. And that actually kind of bugs me a little bit that I don't have a good way to do the calculations there. But maybe it just helps if I let everything calculate by default. So we say okay. Okay. So let's recap. We need to take the default width and half that. That is 100. Okay. That is 100. Then I'll need to multiply that by pi. Okay. Oh, and first I need to square that. Okay. Can I use that? Does that work in PHP? Anyone know? Apparently not. Let's see if there's an actual thing. Otherwise I just multiply it by itself. Pew. Oh, but there's a square root. That's I'm gonna need that later on. Or can I use that? Is that correct? No, right? No, it just adds 2. So we have the okay, so that should be 100, and squared is 100 times 100 should be 10,000, right? Correct. Then we multiply that by pi. And we have that one here. Okay, let's double check it. Yes, that's the correct one. And now we divide all of that by 100. And then multiply it by the percentage. Well, that's not correct. Or is it? We have that here. 50 squared pi, that, then we divide that by 100 times 5. Okay, checks out. And then we need to divide that by 3.146. Pi. Then we should have 312. 12. And then we need to take the square root of that. Is it? Okay. 7.7, and then we need to multiply that by 2. Oops. Multiply it by 2, so we get back the full width there. And since 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, oh, it's not the 17th decimal point, unfortunately, Audi. But I can add some here if you really, really want them. And then we round that. That doesn't seem right. Is that? Oh no, it isn't right. But we can, I think, say how much decimal points. So we round to 1 decimal point. Or 2. Yeah. And that's certainly not how you program stuff like that, because nobody will ever understand what's happening here. But it's fine for me now to figure out the exact numbers. Okay. So let's see. That should still be 200 now. Okay, checks it out. Nice. I'm just gonna use that script here just for my own calculations in there, and not just so that I don't have to type all that shit all the time into my calculator down here. So number 2 is the so we have 42.4. You know what? Let's round that down. Okay. That's number 2. Then we need number 3 is 25%. Then 12.5%, which is 70 points. Yeah, I really need to let that calculate then dynamically at some point. Maybe even also the border width to some extent. But for now, also let's move that here. This one here. So these are nicely isolated. Okay. Honey swap, that one is ID0. Ah, do need to upload that as well. Does that? Why doesn't that one don't have any? Oh yeah, because the whale is just for inner. Never mind. Everything makes sense. Okay. And now place that in here so we can see how much space we're actually going to need. But I think that's Alt 100. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's give that the background image. Okay. So. Okay, that's the wrong one. That's the one. Okay. Okay, what I'm doing here is I'm placing the first element, that's the one with the ID, this one here, exactly in the center of that container, because vertically aligning stuff is super shitty in CSS and you have to work with some tricks. So I'm moving it down to half of the height of the container, but then the top corner is at 50%, and so I need to move that up half the size of the smaller containers in there. And previously you would have done that with something like a margin top and then take half of the height and take the minus value, so move that, so you move it down to the half of the container, and then the element would be too low, and then you would move it up half of the own size, and so it's perfectly in the center. But since I don't want to calculate now the margin tops also all the time, here I'll use the transform translate, because these 50% are relevant on this value, and this 50% are relevant for the parent container, which is this here. So having here top 50% minus 50% is exactly the one, so it should be here in the middle of that container. And now we take a look how big that one probably is. It's 6, so we go for 600 now. That seems more like it. Okay, so now we have the first one placed in there. Now we place the second one, which is this one here, and that one should be almost maybe 10 pixels on top, and let's give that a black background or something. Okay, so what we need to do is place that now in there, and maybe it's not a bad idea to also give the parent container some fixed width, because then I can cut it off and let it move then slowly in there as well over time, because I think we might gonna need that later on. And that's like 2000 right now. Oops, no, 200, 2000. Okay. Okay, so that's like way off down there, but we're gonna cut that off so it behaves more like this here. So we have this separator line here and that one here that cuts it off, and we can drag it inside there without having horizontal scroll bars, because we don't want that. Is something we don't want. But we're going to do that later on. Okay, so now we are going to move that one in here. Let's take a quick look. Yeah, 10 pixels, and 350. So we are gonna move that left 350 pixels. Down. Okay. Now we're gonna find out good logic how to get the line exactly here in that place, because we have this one here and it's already, yeah, it's right up to the top. So what we want to do, we want to have it not on top and here, so we want to have that right and by 100%, so it's out there, and then we want to have it 50% from the top. But now probably that edge here connects right to this one. Exactly. But we can add that by using the calculations element, and we just let that shift 100%, and then let's take a look. What did we intend here? That's like 10%, 10 pixels. So we're just gonna add plus 10 pixels. So it's always gonna take this line container and move it 100% of the outer container in there, and then additionally 10 pixels more, so we have some separator there. And it doesn't really matter then afterwards how big we are going to make this one here, because now we can say, oh, we want to have it a little less width, like 160. That's probably 120 and a little bit less. 120 and 160. 60 and ta-da! Okay, and I think that a lot of this applies to quite a lot of others as well, so we are going to use that here. And so the height and the width, that's going to change on each one of them. Then the position absolute, we're going to need that all the time. The right, same thing. Top, also the same thing. Background size is also the same, but we can say that the background repeat is always no repeat, because we don't want that. And since we're moving it from the right and from the top, we also want that the background position is right and top, because that makes it a lot more easy to so it's always in the top corner, and we know that that it shifts exactly like this, even if the scaling isn't correct. So we use the background image. That's the only thing we really need to tell. That one here, that one we don't need anymore, and that also not anymore. Okay, good. So we do have that, and that should look now exactly the same. But we can now use this one here and say for line number 3, line number 3, we want sort of the same, but we are going to grab this here, take that line, that's the one, make a new one, get this here, enter that one, increase the cut it down to that, and then we are going to save that as the line 003 SVG. Okay, let's do that also for this one here, although I think that's just the inverted one, so we're going to save some time and just transform that. Oops. Transform mirror horizontal. The reason why all these SVGs are separate files is because then I can control when they start to build up. Okay. Line 4. Okay. Okay. That new one. Here, increase that here, cut it down, copy it, save it as VG, line 5, okay, and now we upload all of them, then we think yeah. Okay. Now they all have the same background size, but that's not the biggest issue, because the majority of them doesn't have any line in there anyways for now. Because later on I think I'm not so sure if I really want to have the hover informations also in that container, or have them separately somewhere down here below, or if I should place them in here. Let's see. We're gonna see about that. Okay. Let's see. Key. And the good thing is we can now take a look here. Actually, those are shitty values, but 220. $77. Cool. Let's see where we can position number 2. 400 and 185. Let's take this one here, and that's also 355. The last one here is 380 and 160. Okay. Okay. And then we are going to take a look here. These are 92. And 39. Okay. So let's put this one here. Okay, why? Why is that? Why is that not centered? It is, but that one, that's line number 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 and 5. Down top here. Okay. What's the deal with that one? I'm not sure why these are off. That shouldn't be the case. Oh, I think I know. That's better. So we have these in here, but I'm not so sure if they are actually, if they're really the same, aren't they? Interesting. There. Let's 44, that's a little bit much. So 1% is just 20. That's fairly sure. Is that it? Let's see. Stick the background color there. Okay. And now we are going to make the stream animation here. That's this bunch of things here. We already know that that's just 20 pixels. Yeah, of course. Fucked that up. That was so clear. It's 120. Okay. Let's place them in there, and for some reason and 5 pixels and 125. Okay. Place that here nicely in the center so we can align it then later on. Make this here flatter. So, okay. Then we're going to save that as 6 stream. Let's give that a little bit more decimal points. Okay. Then stream. Let's make it a little bit bigger. It's too much. It's less, so it's 75. Probably good. Okay, anyways, what we can do now is we can delete these empty groups here because we don't need them anymore. Then we're going to remove that SVG info here. And now we can make some CSS animations here to let that one here pulse. So we have these here, so that applies, and then we have, that's the line 1, 2, 3, 4. Stroke. I fucking always forget if it's the dash array or the what's the dash offset. It's always the same. So okay, so there we have the animation part. Then we can tell the animation how it runs. There's no delay for that right now. And the duration we are going to ease out direction. Okay, let's see, now everything should pulse. Why not? Why are you not pulsing? Probably because stream. Probably because I need to close that group here. Yes. Okay. Okay. So now we have this animation here, but that unfortunately runs in the wrong direction. That's better. And now I think I'm gonna increase that here quite a lot, so we have a better view at the image. Let's give that 50 and 500 just for now, and also that here my 1000. Okay, so now we have this streamline animation here, and since we don't want to have all of them at the same point, we are going to say we have that 1000 set it to 2000, then it should be from the beginning and the end, and the beginning and the end. Although 300 and 600 is probably enough. Yes, that looks good, but it still looks shitty because all of them are at the same time. So we are going to start everything with some delay and have this line 1 has an animation delay by 0.25 second. Then, or basically the first one shouldn't have any delay. The first one by 0.5 and this fourth by 75. So we're going to do this here. So now they should pulse independently, and now we are going to give all of them a different duration as well. So the first one, second one, third one. So the first one should have 2, that one should have 3, that's 1, that's 4 seconds. Well, that doesn't look good. Does it? Not at all. Let's build that down to 400 and 200. Maybe we should also animate the opacity so it pulses a little bit more. So we're going to start with 75. Then when we get to 75%, we are going to set the opacity to 1. 75, and then at the end go back to 7.5. Take that away. And we are going to start with the opacity of 0. I think it shouldn't be too fast. They need to be a little bit more eased out. Maybe I should set the dash offset at the beginning also to 0. Yeah, so it doesn't flip anymore. Okay, I think we do have now some pulsing here going on. Now we set it back to the original one, what we intended. It was, I think, 200. It should be 10. Okay. Then we position that again where we wanted to. I'm not sure why is that. Oh yeah, because obviously it shouldn't be in the top corner. So now it's in the middle. Okay. And we are going to move that back here, 730 and 90. 90 and okay. Now we do have some pulsing here going on. Maybe let's here as well, but that actually doesn't look so bad. If it just dial down the colors. Because then I can also set it to 100 when you hover it. That could look good. Okay, now I want to try something real quick. If I scale, let's see what happens if I scale one of these up to 200. Just out of curiosity, because then I know if I can actually use that, because I was thinking that these last items, these ones here, they are very, very, very tiny. So it could be nice to hover them and then they get bigger, but I'm not sure if that actually breaks everything. See, that would move up there, and so the whole thing would start bounce. That's something what I expected, But let's see if what happens if I just scale that. Transform scale. Let's double the size. Transform. Yeah, it's also shit. Okay. Okay, at least now we have the first part here, and I can also calculate. Yeah, I guess what we need to do is really calculate the exact values for all of them, even if they are fairly small. But after all, it just needs to be done once, and each transaction isn't revertible, so once I calculated them, they're basically always the same. What's going to get interesting is recalculating these ones here, because they should get smaller each time something gets taken from that pulls in here. But I think that's also not a problem. Okay. I think these. This one here. That should be only relevant for the first one. I think what's off is because these lines here are adding 10 pixels overall, and since I need an additional space here, it doesn't flip off. That's more like it. Okay, I think that's a fairly good start so far. Let's disable this one here and also this one here. I think that's a good start. And since I'm streaming now for 2.5 hours, I think that's enough for tonight. Next stream will be on Thursday again, also same time. Audie, thanks a lot for joining in and also participating in the chat. It's always so much. It's super helpful if I'm not just feeling like I'm talking to myself, because I think kind of feels then weird. But yeah, see you again on Thursday, and have a good night.